Hello everybody. In my prior video where I addressed a colliding SSH key name concern, I realized the key got disactivated in a GitHub account I set up specifically to do the Git cloning tasks of the LXD Linux image I'm distributing to be a Jupyter Lab server so that you can do automation work much like a Linux person on a Windows laptop. Ugh. So I hit an unexpected snafu, situation normal, all effed up, in GitHub because it recognized that fact. So it's smart of them, but I need to do it anyway, right? So I did and put it up there as a slightly obfuscated, slightly encoded version, and I used a rot13 function, which is part of the built-in Python codex. And now I have two files sitting here. One is a rot13 version of the private key, a private SSH key, and one which is a rot13 version of the public key to that private key, right? So this is a SSH, an ID underscore RSA and an ID underscore RSA .pub file respectively. And they're in the repo, and I'm going to see if I can slide that through and make it go unrecognized as an SSH key. But to reverse the process automatically in my install scripts, I need to use the program that I used for rot13ing it as a command line, as a standalone command line, and that means use ArgParse. So that's your next video, and the prep work was to just Google up a page on ArgParse, which surprisingly is defaulting to Python 3.11 already as the default documentation for Python. See, they keep these paths the same and then just slide the next version up into location. And I've been using 3.10 for a while, and it seems like I can get 3.11.0. I'll have to see what's new in that. But at any rate, the directions for ArgParse are the same either way. I'm technically on 3.10, so I'll go to that documentation. And we no longer should be in a Jupyter Notebook because we're making a standalone command, although nbdev, and we'll get to that soon. Boy, I was thinking that was going to be the next video, but I had some yak shaving to do, right? Dependencies building up on each other. So we're going to do this just plain old command line style, clear, right against the blue screen and all, because it's not going to take much. ls, this is the repo stuff. We're going to make a Python command called, unrot. So vim unrot.py. Insert mode, and we grab our ArgParse example. Import ArgParse. Parser equals something. Parser add argument. And then they're available here, right? That's like a whole program. You can just copy it out of their example. Python documentation might be getting better. You used to not be able to get a whole good working example like that right at the top of the page. So we definitely don't want this one about numbers, but we will support an argument for destination, action, default. I don't think any of that's necessary. We just need a hyphen sum. Oh, I can't use control V. I have to, oh, there it is, block, delete. I don't know, is block delete called for here? We're just doing add argument sum. I think that might actually be it. That might be all we need here. But we don't want it as sum. We want just something going in with a file name. And we'll use file instead of file name. So now we've got a program sitting there. You should be able to test that. Go into the same machine, same login, go into the same repo directory, and type Python. Make sure it's Python 3 that we're getting. It is. And type Python unrot.py -- file foobar. Doesn't like something. No attribute accumulate. I missed something. Oh, yeah. args.file. We are not on edge cases yet. We are on the simplest. I wish they did like a simple hello world. So see, now we're sitting on top of something that we can pass in as args. So it's args file sitting there, and we can take our function to unrotate the file. You remember that's sitting over here. And we'll have to make it support 2 parameters instead of just 1. There's our function. I should call it in. And out. In and out. So we will be reading in args.in. Oh, no, I have that wrong. We will be writing out args.out. And we'll be reading the data. Oh, from opening the file. Now we will have to open the file first. There will be a file opening process just like before. So that we're sitting on top of the data that goes in there. So loading the data. Will be args.in. So args.in and args.out. Now it doesn't like in. Look at that color coding, like it's a reserved keyword. But it's on a command line argument, so that's fine. Yeah, this looks like this should do it if I'm not missing anything. I guess I should print that stuff. Print args.in, comma, args.out. And it should actually do the work. I don't see why not. That looks like the complete program. Oh, I didn't even need to unquit of it because I have this sitting over here. We'll clear it over here, and we will do Python unrot in pub.txt out id rsa lx dwin.pub. Invalid syntax, right? This is a reserved keyword. It doesn't like that in. That color coding should have been a clue. We'll say input. I probably won't like that either. That feels reserved to me as well. But not so reserved. It's a different error. No such file or directory. So that's on the right. I have the right out doing something wrong. That's an R in there. So I have an R in both places. It's got to be a, oh, I have read lines there. I need the reversal of that process. This should be the writing the lines. I'm going to get rid of that for a second. Correct my mistake from scratch. Oh, yeah. this is the writing. This is the writing here. So this is the reading. I got that right. Do I have the lines equal there? Yeah, no, this is now the right way, right? Because we're going to be writing. And now this is going to be, no, I don't need to change that. That's x for x in, data. There's data over there. Yeah, right. This here is what gets changed. The string literal file name is now args.out. Output to make it consistent. All right. Input and output. Now we should do a before and after. There are, do I do one more over here for before and after? Sure, why not? One more terminal into the container. You will see there is no ID RSA files in there, right? No .pub files, right? That's the before. Oh, one more thing. Object has no attribute out. I just missed something on the where I didn't change out to output. Oh yeah, just on the printing. Codex is not defined. Did I not do the import? I did not do the import. It's almost there. We're almost there. Stick with me, my friends, because we're now fully there, right? So it read in pub.txt and it outputted as IDRSA underscore LXD win.pub, right? So I've got it. I have a, command line, a Python command line program now. Let's try it with the other one. We get rid of the .pub. We put in .priv. Okay, and we should look at these files now, right? So they are both there. IDRSA, there's the public key. There's the public key and there's the private key. So we will vim IDRSA, the public one. I mean, I'm giving them all out in the repo, but there you can see it looks like a correct public key as well. It should. And so this should work. This should work. Git status. I add the command line stuff that I just created. I don't add these two, right? So I should probably add a git ignore. Git add, we'll do a vim git ignore. We'll copy these two files in particular, and we'll throw the checkpoints in there as well. Vim.git ignore. Oh, there's already that in there. I didn't realize I had one already. So two particular file names in one directory. Git status. Git add. Git ignore. Clear. Git status. Now you'll see the only thing not tracked is the unrot program, and we definitely want that in there. Git add unrot. That will be executed by the container to turn these files back into keys. Git commit added unrot command. Git push. And that's up there now too. And so I suppose that's enough to wrap this video up here, but you can totally see where I'm going with this. To give these containers the ability to git clone after you've run the install script on your local machine by, oh, we ran out of virtual desktops. Oh, this one is blank. By creating this file here and running it, you will get a local LXD, you'll get a local Linux container running on Windows 10 or Windows 11, right? And you get this file, as I am more frequently pointing out, by going to mikelev.in/ux, Mike Levinix, right? You go there, it'll bring you to my site, and then it'll immediately auto forward you to this script, and you follow the instructions there of select all, copy, go over here, create a text file, rename it install.bat, paste the contents in, and then you run that, and you'll have Jupyter Notebook on your machine running the way I do here as a true Linux instance of it, which you can really tell by looking at the terminal where you got your forward slashes and all the same code execution context as you get from your Linux terminals over here, which you can also add by making a link to log into them. That's just a shortcut to PowerShell with the SSH program to actually log into that machine. So all these machines here that I show you with a terminal are also where the Jupyter server is being hosted. You can see them by going screen ls, screen reattach to Jupyter, and look at that. That's the Jupyter server running, errors and all, and I do stupid stuff. So anyway, there you have it. We're sliding some ID RSA SSH keys into a GitHub repo. So these containers that are built with this process can do some git cloning of some repos after the build process is complete. That's probably going to go into install.sh as opposed to install.bat. Install.bat's the part you see that's all pretty with the graphics at the front. And then install.sh takes care of some follow-up work that's really executed from the machine that hosts, from the hosted machine, from inside the container, right? Yeah, this goes inside the container. I think something like that, but it's a .sh file that is executed from Linux context as opposed to a .bat file that's executed from WSL context, Windows subsystem for Linux. No, it starts out as a normal Windows bash, a Windows bat, B-A-T file. So Windows bat file under the context of DOS or PowerShell. And then it hands it off to WSL that uses a .sh file, which are bash as opposed to bat. And that is not on the container yet. That is on the Windows subsystem for Linux machine that's reaching into the container and making things happen on the container through all these LXC commands you'll see scattered throughout. So that's the too long, didn't read version. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope this is making sense where I'm going with all that. And I hope you learned how to quickly create a Python command using ArgParse. Right? You just saw me use ArgParse. People shy away from ArgParse all the time because things like Click and DocAuc are all trying to simplify this process. But I question, does this much code really need to be simplified? Why not just stick to the standard Python library and use ArgParse? Is this code really so overwhelmingly complex that you need some third-party library and an artificial dependency? Nah, I don't think so. So there you have it. Hope to see you soon.